Hey everybody, welcome Stand Up Paddle community and all those interested in the great people we interview here on SupConnect live show every Thursday, usually at 1 o'clock Pacific time, sometimes at 4 because we've been talking to people from all over the place. And today's guest, it is actually morning time in Hawaii. But first, just a reminder that if you didn't get to catch it live, if you have friends who'd like to watch this, it immediately goes to SupConnect's IGTV as a recording, and then they later put it on their YouTube channel, so you can always find it there. And we have a Facebook group called SupConnect Live Discussions. Great place to find out who's up next, and then we follow up a lot with links to things we talked about, and so you can find the people that we interviewed and put some pictures up, since that's something that we can't do so easily here. So without further ado, super excited to talk to Josh Riccio, who is on the island of Maui in Hawaii. He stand-up paddles in all kinds of different conditions, but we're definitely going to talk about downwinding. Definitely Maui is known for that, and he's known for that too. Originally from Florida, but has been living in Hawaii for some time. He's got a special project we're going to talk about too, and we're going to have a first, and we're going to attempt to have a special guest. So hoping we can squeeze the special guest onto the screen with Josh, but excited to make that happen. So let's see if we can find Josh. There he is, right there, and get started and learn his story and everything he's up to. I'm a little bit sad right now because this week, hey Josh!
Hey, what's up, Kristen? What's up, everyone else out there?
Don't even have my headphones on. How prepared I am. I was saying I'm just a little bit sad. I'm so happy to see you. Aloha. But I'm supposed to be on Maui right now. We had a family vacation plan since Christmas. We were taking all our kids and their boyfriends and girlfriends. But totally understand. Strange times. I'm actually loving how much you guys who live there are enjoying having the island in kind of a more peaceful state without us tourists.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's definitely been the quietest Maui has ever been in years and decades, from what a lot of the old locals and stuff are saying. And in the 10 years I've lived here, it's definitely
well, that's a beautiful thing too, and it's completely, I think, understandable. An island culture that's been devastated by disease before is not one that's going to be, jumping into having people from the outside, because that's where you're getting it, is people flying through, like Oahu especially, huh?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like it's funny you did mention that. Like the islands do have a pretty gnarly history as far as disease goes, with leprosy back in the 19th century. And so and just I mean, we were quick to kind of realize we can be in a bubble out here. And
well, I would have liked to be having you over for a barbecue, and I've been to Maui quite a few times, but not in the last 10 years since I have been a stand-up paddler. So I have never done a Maliko run. So sometime in the future, and we're going to definitely be talking about those. Yeah,
sure, definitely.
But let's back up and just, what got you hooked on SUP? Or let's go back a little farther, actually. I think you had kind of a water life even before stand-up paddling, didn't you?
Yeah. My parents, raised me on the Gulf Coast of Florida, and all my childhood we enjoy just the typical family beach days, skimboarding, fishing, wakeboarding. Obviously Florida's got a big boat scene out there, so a lot of the stuff you do on the waters revolving around the boat. Fishing, especially in our area, is really kind of world class, and a little bit better fishing than surfing and stuff. So I mean,
But did surfing come before stand-up paddleboarding?
Yeah, I think surfing definitely came before paddling. Sorry. Just the started with the boogie board, I guess, first, then the skimboard, then eventually got onto a surfboard, and then the first visit I made to Maui to visit a college roommate who moved out here was actually my first time I'd ever touched a paddleboard. And
because that's interesting, because Florida has a pretty big culture, and started in not as early as Hawaii, but definitely Florida has a big stand-up paddleboard scene too. So I always assumed that you started in Florida, but you tried it in Hawaii.
Yeah, yeah. And I think my first trip out to Maui was in '09, and yeah, I mean, I knew of stand-up paddling. It really wasn't in Florida yet, and so when I came out here, it was just kind of like, oh, let's get this thing a try, and it's pretty funny. Like me being a surfer, I go right out to this wave I was staying at, and it was a pretty shallow little reef, so I immediately got humbled by the challenge of surfing a 10-foot, 30-pound, 30-inch wide board on a steep, shallow. Uh,
Oh, so you jumped right
Reef.
into surfing a stand-up paddleboard, not trying it on flat water or
You
anything, just
know,
right out into the waves.
like
Wow.
most people, just make that mistake of like, oh, that looks easy. I'm just gonna
Sure,
go
I'm a
right out
surfer.
into the waves, and so just immediately yard sailed all over the reef. Did the full like that was my first experience of like actually kind of walking like a cat over the reef to go get my paddle and then go find my board, and that was my first intro and taste of paddling. I came back a year later and moved to Maui, and immediately got into the canoe club out one of the canoe clubs out here,
Hmm.
and that led me to downwinding, experiencing the glide for the first time, and that's when I
Ah,
actually got hooked on paddling.
yeah. So
Um,
first it was in an outrigger, your first downwinding.
yeah, my first experience of downwinding came in an outrigger canoe on a 6-man outrigger canoe, and that experience led me to wanting to get my own 1-man, but the price of them
Mm.
steered me towards a sup, a downwind race board, because being a surfer, it was also kind of a hybrid of what I was trying to do with paddling, and then also new from surfing. So
Yeah.
ended up buying a downwind race board instead of a 1-man. And once I felt the glide standing up, it was like, oh, this is awesome. This is it. Surfing open ocean waves has since then been my favorite way of paddling. So
Yeah. I didn't know you started with that. So your first board was a specialty board, a downwind board, stand-up
yeah,
paddleboard. Yeah.
yeah, it was a 14-foot um, stock downwind board, and
Very cool.
yeah,
And I guess I thought you've had some back and forth because your roots are in Florida. I feel like you've done some workshops there and you're still connected with probably people there. So as you got into stand-up paddleboarding more, um, were you sometimes back in Florida doing, well, you've raced all over the place for sure.
yeah, and yeah, for sure. I mean, like, sorry if I'm shaking the camera. Maybe I'll put it down. Um, the stand my girlfriend originally planned for me wasn't working, so technical difficulties.
That's all right.
Okay,
It's part of Instagram.
but yeah, thanks for being
I didn't
patient
have one at
here.
the beginning
Yeah,
either, but I do now. So hands free is easier.
okay, I think so. Yeah, that'd be better. My bad. Um, so yeah, sorry, where were we?
With Florida, so you have some
Yeah.
connection having grown up there and because
Okay. Yeah.
it but you were 2010 then around you moved to Hawaii, so you were there even earlier than I
Yeah.
knew.
I've been out here for 10 years, and yeah, I mean, as soon as I got into paddling right away when I moved out here, and then every trip back home was, to see family and stuff, and then paddling was picking up at the same time, so
Hmm.
it was cool to. It was actually kind of wasn't even in Florida yet when I was first kind of coming back, but then it just started picking up, and I, you just didn't have to explain what paddling was as much anymore, and you'd see just random people out there enjoying the water that you always knew your whole life and enjoyed on, the wakeboard or fishing and stuff.
Hmm.
And then paddling just, is great because you can go into so many cool little backwater spots, and explore so much more that you can't with a boat and stuff. So
Very cool.
Florida's,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, Florida is like it's my, it's where I was born and stuff, and Maui's kind of my home now, but Florida will always, still be where my roots are and
Have a
stuff.
special
And
place. Yeah.
yeah.
So you started with downwinding, which is amazing. That was your hook. That's what got you into stand-up paddleboarding. That is interesting, and there is a cost difference. As much as sometimes people say it's expensive to get into stand-up paddleboarding, the larger craft, understandably, are even more money. And you're always talking in the thousands. But you
Yeah.
got into racing at some point. Was it a downwind race, your first race?
Yeah, for sure. Um, like the way that the paddling culture out here is really all about the open ocean. The sorry about that.
You're back.
The you know the stand up paddling culture out here in Hawaii really just kind of stemmed off of the bigger outrigger paddling scene out here. And for outrigger paddling, or for paddling out here in Hawaii, the channels and open ocean downwinding is everything. So just kind of immediately you get influenced to go into the bumps and get just brought out there by your friends telling you how awesome the Maliko is, and then you go out there on your own, you experience it, and you're pretty hooked. For me being a surfer, I wasn't really psyched on doing 6 miles flat water grind, you know, just as like a cardio battle. So, so I really liked how downwinding was just constant action. You're catching a wave, maybe a stroke or two more, then you're catching another wave. So that's how it all started for me. And then, um, found a little local race in the end of 2012 put on by one of the canoe clubs where I got to meet Jeremy Riggs for the first time. Kind of paddle with him on the Malika run, which was really rad. He's kind of always guided me and shared so much of his knowledge with me to help me kind of progress and stuff. And then 2013 came around, and I was just hungry for information from guys like Jeremy and stuff. Like, what do you, Jeremy Rick? Sorry, I say his name weird. Um, but yeah, it's just like, where are the races at? Like, what do I, how do I follow you guys and get into more of this? And then I found out about the Maui to Molokai race, and I was like, for sure, I definitely want to do a Pailolo channel crossing on my stand up. That's what got me into downwinding at first. So did the Maui to Molokai 2013, and I can remember rocking up at Honolulu Bay, where you start at on Maui. It's a really beautiful bay. It is the best bay to paddle in all of Maui, and they do not let stand-up paddlers in that bay,
Ah,
except for this one race day. So we're all down there hanging out, talking story, and I bring up this board, my my little prototype I got from SIC. I bought from them, and everybody was like, well, "Who's this guy?" And this board's only 27 inches wide. Like, is this guy even gonna be able to stand on that thing across the channel? Like, I remember Zane and them being like, we're on
dude.
27. It's like, what are you, who, like, are you sure you're gonna be able to ride that thing across the channel? And they weren't really like naysaying me, but they were more just like, dude, this board is sick. Who
Yeah.
are you? And it's just a cool like introduction to the community because everybody was like psyched to see a new face, and you're yeah, I was new, so I don't really know what the scene is gonna be like, and it was just really fun. It's great. Had a great battle and experience, just like chasing Zane and Paul Jackson across that channel.
Oh
It
yeah.
motivated me to that motivated me to go to the 2013 Battle of the Paddle, which
And
is
that
probably
was
around the time
putting,
I met you
yeah. Yeah.
and your crew over there in Dana Point.
Right, because that's next town down. So yeah,
Yeah,
sadly, our I hope we can get that back because we love that race. But so that's definitely your surf skills. So that was a change from just being a downwind guy. Now you're doing some surf and some distance. And damn, Josh, you're really good at flat water distance. I've seen you do great races. So you eventually embraced all kinds of paddling, even though you started and still love downwinding.
yeah, absolutely. Like, yeah, like that's how my passion for paddling was kind of ignited, was from downwinding, and it's still that most enjoyable kind of style of paddling that I enjoy the most. But
Hmm.
but I love using stand up racing as a form to kind of compete against myself with others, and so I really dig the I really dig that battle that you get in flat water racing, in the draft trains and stuff, because you're just so evenly matched. You're watching your noses just do this for miles, and so well, I definitely always am hoping on race day we're gonna have some bumps out there. Um, I definitely enjoy that competitive aspect in the flat water wa- conditions to go against the boys and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
Well, you're known as, you got those big dimple, always a smile on your face, and
yeah,
definitely share that aloha. Um, you're very humble too. Like you didn't, in our little asking you for a quick bio, you didn't talk about M to O and being a champion. And aren't you a record holder even?
yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah. I mean, it's
Come on.
thanks. Like, well, out here it's just paddling is an awesome thing. You have great days out there on the water, and as like proud and psyched I am to have those accomplishments on the resume. It's not kind of how I like to portray myself as far as being like this that accreditation of being like the world record holder or the three-time stock champion. That isn't really kind of what makes me go out there and paddle. I love the competitive side of it, but it's just the internal passion that makes me out, really enjoy getting out there and then going out to travel and finding a competitive race to, measure myself against the other guys.
Yeah, which is
So,
fantastic. And we do
so
appreciate about you and many in our community, I think, are humble that way. But you are the three-time champion of a race that is really, even though it's there, close to you, it's in the Hawaiian Islands, it's definitely known worldwide. And it's been kind of fun in these strange times where we can't race. I've been really into the virtual racing. So I've got my paddle we
yeah,
were pretending we were in Hawaii for like a week and a half because everybody was doing paddle and mua, and then we did M to O virtual, half
yeah,
of it. We did 16 miles, but we had 30 people down here, like, and do a course, and it was really cool to try to. Well, it's Anthony Vela's my coach, and he's done M to O many times, so he tried
yeah,
to do a lot of the things. I mean, we had the opening, we had the Hawaiian conch shells, we like took off, we had boats with us, which you know
give
may or
you
may
that
not need,
feel.
but it was definitely
Yeah,
part of the whole feel of what it is to be in the real crossing. Um, I've only
that's
done it as a relay. I've never done the whole thing, but that was just such an amazing experience. So,
I remember your relay crossing. What was your team name again? It was
um, C&H Sugar, because we were from California and Hawaii, and we were, yeah, old ladies.
I don't know. I
J-
just could tell that you girls had a lot of fun
oh,
crossing
we
the
did. Jane, do you
Atlantic.
know Jane McKee? She's an outrigger phenom, and she had never done it stand up. She said, I probably
Yeah,
crossed this channel like 30 times, but
yeah.
she
Never
didn't want to
stand
do it
up.
alone. She was for her 60th birthday, so she was looking for other badass old ladies. So
She's
very flattered to get to be one of them.
Yeah, like I don't know her too well personally, but she definitely has that reputation of just being like a charger, and
Yeah.
everybody, she's just a big personality in the
Uh-huh.
in the paddling community out
Yeah.
here. That was rad. I totally remember that. Was that
Yeah.
2 years ago that you were out here for that?
Yeah, 2018. But it
That was
really, the
fun.
whole thing is just such an amazing experience. But I really would like to do M to M that you talked about as your like
Yeah,
first inter island race, because that one's supposed to be a little more lined up.
yeah, that one is really a lot better of a direction for downwinding. It's
Hmm.
it's still a pretty challenging crossing. Like you do have about 8 or 9 miles in the start that is a channel crossing from
Hmm.
Maui to Molokai, and then a
Then you get
large
lined
part
up.
of yeah, and during that channel crossing, it's not I mean, there's a lot of speed out there for sure to enjoy, but it does have a little bit of a side angle to it, so it can challenge, especially like the stock paddlers, you know, that are surfing with the rails in their paddle rather than just the rudder. It can be a little bit more challenging, but then yeah, once you know that always seems to go really quick, and then once you get along Molokai like southeast shore, it really lines up, and then it just starts giving you some of this most insane um, glides, you know, you've ever
So fun.
seen
Well,
and stuff.
definitely on my bucket list. So, of
Yeah.
course, so Maui is so special and such a wonderful place. And Hawaii, of course, your home and where you paddle, but you've traveled too. So maybe give us, how about a top three of travel experiences, either because of the place or the race or the people? Where are some places that you
Oh,
love traveling to for
oh
paddling?
man. There's, well, God, there's, you know, there's definitely been so many fun, like just new first experiences on, you know, new destinations, and then people that you know, you get connected with on the trip. I think that's one of the best things with the sup adventures you go on is the people you end up meeting on your trip and the way they influence that trip to be what it is. And so, you know, I would say that the adventures down to St. Croix in the Caribbean, those that destination was awesome.
Coconut Cup,
Yeah, yeah.
fun
Pi
one.
and Bill
Mm.
putting on that event down there was great. You know, the Euro adventures were super fun. Like 2 years ago, ended up doing a long road trip from South France up to North Germany with Fred Bonef, the kind of coordinations guy with the Euro Tour.
Cool.
Awesome experience there. The Hood River is one of my favorites. Every year seems to become makes it a better and better trip. Just the friends you make, the downriver
Yeah.
mountains, the places you get to explore.
I think we're all really missing that right now. That's just such an amazing
Yeah,
everything about it.
yeah,
People, the
for sure.
town, the so
Um,
that's pretty, it's a really different kind of downwinding though, isn't it, for you? I mean, going upriver with wind, but the much shorter distance between bumps and
yeah, definitely. It's really been one of those places where like I I I struggled there honestly to get a good result in the downwind races, and up until last year I finally started kind of putting it together out there from the ocean
hmm
because I was just so focused in the summertime on the channel crossings and spending so much time with my eyes getting adapted to the speed and the distances the space you have out here, that I wasn't able to read it and adapt, and yeah, so that's just makes me justify coming out there for longer and stuff. Like, oh, come
I know.
earlier, gonna learn
Well,
this river.
that's right. We have to go earlier because you got to practice.
It really does. I mean, require that for everyone. Downwinding is a, you know, it's that type of race, and you really need to know the course. You really need to work on the board skills, you know, to rail steer, to step back, to step forward, and do it all with a good. Yeah, I definitely enjoy going to Hood River and setting up
Definitely,
there.
yeah, another fun place.
Yeah, yeah.
So you have a special project, you said, a video with Maddie Schweitzer working
Yes.
on it. Tell us about it. Or is it a
Yeah.
super secret undercover thing still?
No, not at all. Like
When's it out?
I'm glad you brought it up because like I've been really enjoying just putting my creative just juices into this little passion project. It's a downwind video that's almost done. Like I was really hoping to try to put it out this morning, but I don't want to force it. Um, but essentially, you know, this year, not being able to compete and travel, I wanted to work on putting out a really cool downwind film again that would make people just get stoked on paddling and, you know, get you psyched to go downwind. Really,
hmm
like really what I like to do before a surf session or paddling. It's pump up like with a surf video or just some good music, and um, that's kind of my fun creative outlet is to get some clips and put something
Cool.
good. And so I I'm
We,
really excited. It's so close to being done. So
yeah. Well, we look forward to that, and maybe we can put the links in the Facebook follow-up group so that people can watch it when it does come out.
yeah, yeah,
That's
I
great.
definitely. The
Foot,
Maddie did a great job with all
yeah.
the getting all the great angles that really kind of are going to help portray what it feels like to be out there. So
Yeah, which is amazing. Downwind footage in Hawaii. I mean, the color of the water in Hawaii is just amazing, amazing.
yeah.
Well, I think there's someone around the corner there that we should bring in and meet to talk about some of the other things because she's involved.
Oh, there is.
Sup,
She's
Stoke
not just
times
hanging up on the
two.
wall.
Ah,
A first for Sup
Victoria.
Connect Live.
And how do you say your last name? Because I've never said it out loud. I've only read it.
Victoria Chadsey.
Chadsey. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, it was so sweet. I had no idea that you guys went to grade school and surfed the same peak in Florida, and that's how you met. I knew there was a Florida connection, but I didn't know that you had really known each other so many years.
Well, we never actually talked, kind of. He was kind of like the older kid at school, all that jazz.
Yeah.
But we did, have very similar friends and a lifestyle and kind of knew each other, but not until, like I said, a couple years ago when we met actually surfing back home in Florida that I had to get my leg pulled to come out to Hawaii, and now we're here.
Now
So
you live
it's been
there too.
awesome.
Super cool. I think one of the first pictures I remember seeing of you fishing. Is your dad a fisherman or really into
Yeah,
fishing? And you mentioned, Josh, that where the area you're in, Anna Maria Island, is fishing is big.
yeah, big time. So my family we grew up, fishing and diving, just, like Josh had mentioned, the Florida lifestyle, but it was always fishing, diving, hunting. I have two older brothers, so kind of got into all of that with them. So back in Florida, I did a lot of competitive spearfishing and free diving and
Oh, cool.
fishing tournaments with my family, but also, solo stuff, and would go out. And I have a little boat back home, and all of that was really awesome. So luckily, there's crystal clear water here that we get to dive and stuff too. So, but yeah, definitely a new water out here to learn how to fish in Hawaii. The fish are a lot different and a lot smaller, and it's really awesome though to get to see the fish even while you're surfing or paddling. The water's
Yeah.
so clear out here; it's like unbelievable.
Yeah. Well, you're a true water ambassador and Stoke ambassador and Aloha ambassador and all that, just like Josh. So you two, your pictures just are always like beaming and smiling and doing all these fun things, which I'm going to post a bunch of. Thanks for sending some
Yeah.
along. Yeah.
Oh, I can send more. Don't worry.
And send some more. Yeah. It's so fun.
Yeah.
I feel like there's like this romantic thing on Maui because you've got, the Baxters who just had a baby, and didn't Zane and Kim just get married like last
Yeah,
weekend or 2 weekends ago? And
they did. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
yeah. So lots of fun stuff going on there, and you've really adapted and made it the best. You said you started a brand new business. Tell us
Yeah,
about that.
that's it. Yeah. So right when I got here, I hit the ground running, joining Canoe Club, as Josh had, steered me towards. And he said, "You'll make a lot of friends." So right from there, I joined the Canoe Club and got a bunch of different jobs. And
Oops.
it's okay. We'll just let it go black.
Come back.
Like fading out.
You're back.
But yeah, so just working a lot of different jobs out here in Maui and connecting with the community for the first year I was here. And I've always had a dream of owning my own recreation business. And I just started about 2 weeks before COVID kind of happened.
But it sounds like
House
it was kind of good for COVID.
retreats.
It's the type of thing that, was
Yeah, so
people
I have a
needed.
business titled In-House Retreats, and it's literally titled In-House, and people have been stuck in their house. So
Yeah.
ideally, my business is, catered towards doing team building and events and fitness, within house of a business. But right now, I'm providing online yoga videos and, retreat experiences that people can do in-house. So all of the things that Josh and I do, activity wise is all, my passion with work, and also, for fun. So staying active, and we're always training and working out and sharing fitness with people and friends. And, hopefully when all this ends, I'll have a yoga studio space and everything will be back up and running. So,
Wonderful, wonderful. Yeah. Well, equipment is one of the things we ask about, and downwinding equipment and everything. But I know you guys, you're kind of new, Josh, but you're brand new to being with a Florida company that makes custom amazing boards. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Fish, so stoked. He could talk for hours and hours.
Okay.
I'm sure he's got more information.
Well, tell us.
Yeah. I have my first downwind board en route to Maui, and I'm so excited. Her name is Reef because I have a stand-up log paddleboard, and her name is Coral. So we have Coral.
Love it.
And
I name my boards also.
About colors and names, and he talks about dimensions. But him and John and the rest of the Flying Fish team were able to customize this board. For me being kind of new, I am newer to race boards and things. So it's a dugout board, but it's still wide enough that I'm comfortable on it. I tried several of these similar boards when I was in Florida, so now they've added the colors and different things so it can fit for me. But the size and everything, it's one of their newer boards, the Freebird, and it's what Josh has, but it's going to be a little bit wider and things for me. And hopefully I'll get some of my girlfriends and other people that are still learning but want something that goes fast to be able to try it out and stuff.
Great.
And I hope it gets here tomorrow, but I think it has like another week.
I'll cross my fingers for you.
Yeah, so I've been on all Josh's hand-me-down boards up until then, and it's been great. So I'm excited to get my own.
Board. Josh, the Freebird, is that your favorite also? That's the dugout kind of downwinder, or I know they all start with F, right? I can't remember.
No,
Freedom, Freebird, Free.
Pretty much. Freedom is their number one selling race board. That's kind of their
flat deck.
Everybody knows, that flat deck. Mm-hmm. And then they had the Free Glide, which is their flat water board, and now we got the Freebird, their dugout or their downwind board. So,
and I've seen a lot of postings that people getting boards pretty darn narrow. So John must do a pretty good job of balancing that stability with speed, because there's people kind of up and down the East Coast, especially, who are getting the custom boards from him in the under 20, 21, 22 inch width.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's incredible that the boards are stable enough to still shape them and paddle them efficiently at that width. I know there's some of the younger paddlers with Flying Fish, like Dylan Geiger is one of them. I think he's got a 19.
Oh my gosh.
9.9 inch wide board.
Isn't that crazy how it just gone down and down and down? I mean, I'm older and will never go to that, but I swore that 26 inches was as narrow as I'd ever get about 3 years ago. Yeah, no. Although I'm not going down as low as you guys.
I kind of saw this happening a while back once we broke below the 20, once we went below 27, and then next year was 26 and then 24. We kind of went from 24 to 20, or 26 to 20, 24 inch boards came up, and then it was oh man, we're going to probably end up going down to 20 or.
Yeah. Well, there's so many other factors that it's not just about width. So it's not an automatic that it's less stable. It's what's happening everywhere else on the board.
And I would really put the warning out there to everyone that's really for flat water specific boards we're talking about. I personally would say
don't jump into that.
No, and especially for me right now, I've been really focusing on working with John on developing this downwind dugout board. Mm-hmm. And on top of, making this board suitable for the type of paddling I want to do on the board and the type of waters I want to paddle the board in out here in Hawaii. And we've been really focusing on the testing part of it. Anytime we're making a new prototype, we're making a different version of the board, we're weighing out, okay, So we tried this. This made the board faster. This made the board less stable. This makes the board steer better. This makes the board harder to climb into if you're falling. So
Yeah, those are all
it,
important things. Yeah.
it's definitely really important to kind of, for at least for the downwind boards, especially the dugouts, and not get hyped up on going super narrow. Um, so I was just trying to put that
Yeah.
little friendly
Yeah.
PSA
It's
announcement
it's
of like, don't
interesting,
go
but it's
too
not the
narrow,
norm, right?
guys. Especially, for downwinding, it's you're in rough water. So
And it is super important. So let's stick on downwinding. This is perfect because it's been your thing the whole time, and Victoria's a little newer to it. And let's get some tips from you on how about we start with like three mistakes to avoid in learning how to be a downwinder on a stand-up
all right.
paddleboard.
Well, I think
Oh, actually, you just mentioned one. Don't go too narrow with your board. Don't get carried
definitely,
away.
yeah, equipment. You could really start with the equipment. Start
Hmm.
super wide, wider than you think if it's really your first run. Um, and when you're first starting, just get comfortable getting out there, finding a rhythm, and reading the water in front of you. You're not you're not going to learn too much if you're constantly looking behind you like this. You need to learn how to read the water in front of you to utilize the bumps. So that's kind of the first thing
Yeah,
I try to
I'm
tell
I'm
people.
still working on that one, that connecting and like
Looking
what's happening
for,
in front of you. But
yeah.
Yeah. Well, when
so
you come out to Maui and Josh goes on a run with you, you get the like, at first I had a couple of runs where he was right by my side the whole time coaching me. Jason, come on, let's go, push, 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 squeeze, and you're
yeah,
going and you're chasing the next bump. You don't have a second to look behind you and things.
yeah.
So I would say one thing that I would say for first time downwinders is safety first. So
Hmm.
the
Hmm.
importance
Yes.
of, one of three safety things to have, whether it's a fanny pack, life jacket, B, a safety beacon, and C, your cell phone in a Ziploc bag. So as long as you have, I think, at least one of
And
those,
the leash.
and a leash, of course. Sure. A life jacket, a leash, a cell phone, or a safety beacon. Um, you know, Once we go downwinding, now that he's taught me, it's, hey babe, you good? Okay, bye. And as far as I can maybe see his yellow hat, and then I'm kind of out there. You're a
Yeah.
mile offshore and you're going 10 miles, and I'm like, okay, I've got my fanny pack, my life jacket, I've got my
Hmm.
phone. And once you have those things, the confidence level builds up, knowing that you'll be, good to go. I think safety is a good one to always know. Um,
Always.
Great.
I just started getting into, adding in music and having my supplements, my little energy snacks while we're out there,
Woo.
get a little more official and
Yeah.
competitive and things with it.
Well, you're a
But
good racer. You race.
I did.
Yes.
I got
She
third
is.
place in Hood River, my first race ever. I was so excited. And then I just did the virtual paddle and mua with the crew out here.
Fun.
And I train a lot with Josh and a lot actually with Laura Clayton out here
Yes.
in
She
Maui.
surfed her whole life. She's a
So-
fitness.
Yeah, so I
Nice.
do have
Yeah.
a good background to come into it. I'm a big yogi. I teach yoga, so the balance, when you're out on Maliko and you're dropping in on a bump, I think that's actually another really important thing is balance
Absolutely.
for people. Being able to stand on one foot because you might be stepping back for a split second, or being able to recatch yourself and using your paddle as a kickstand so you don't do the whoa motion and
Yeah.
things like
I like
that.
it.
So
The
I
whoa.
love the kickstand. That was one
Yeah.
of his tips he's always said. So, but yeah, Maliko is definitely awesome. When we get done, the other tip to people is it's okay if you get really tired afterwards. Not everybody like Josh and Google Gallagher and everybody can get in the car and go up for a second run.
But you need a nap, and it's okay.
I get in the car and I fall asleep on the way to Whole Foods.
It's all good. Like as you guys said at the beginning, and it's all about fun and enjoyment,
Yeah. Oh, for
and
sure.
we all enjoy the competitive side of it, and we enjoy people and the company and the places that this all takes us. Along those lines, like Josh, are you exploring any of the new kind of offshoots that are out there? I know Hawaii is really big on maybe foiling or the wing.
Yeah, I actually have been really spending so much time on my downwind board on the Freebird that like it's kind of just recently occurred to me that I'm like, man, I haven't jumped on the this wing bandwagon that's going on out here in Maui. But just you get for the same reason that everybody out here is getting stoked on wing foiling. It's the new thing for them to enjoy the water. I
Yeah.
got a new downwind race board, so I'm enjoying the
Yep.
water just as
Yeah.
much as they are. Um,
Well, it will be interesting to see where they fall under. They're actually, Mike Juker just had a talk with Connor about it. And I mean, I think the wing, I used to windsurf in the 80s, never at a competitive level, but it's more of a windsurf thing, it's a
yeah,
wind thing, which is
yeah,
cool, but I don't know if it's going to like be categorized under SUP. And foil also just overlaps with everything. It used to be
yeah,
around in surfing. It's kind of having this resurgence. Stand-up
yeah,
paddle has something to do with that, but that's, you know, the
yeah.
foil people around us at San Onofre who are like learning. We have a big crew in the waves.
Mhm.
It's not
Yeah.
stand up, anyway.
No,
But it is interesting. All these, it's fun. The new, whatever's exciting to you at the time. And, you guys are super stoked on the downwinding
for
and the new
sure. I
equipment
mean,
and everything. Yeah.
And
yeah,
surfing too.
yeah, yeah. No, like this.
Surfing always.
Yeah, and Maui, you just have such awesome conditions with the island and the way the wind wraps around the mountains. You've got wind on the east and the north facing shores. You've got
Mm-hmm.
calm, good surf on the south and west facing shores. So you can go longboard or shortboard in the morning or paddle surf and then go do a downwind run or go wing foil. And so you just have really this whole menu of choices to go play in the waves and in the water. And so you're just I mean it's been one of the blessings of this craziness we're having this year is we're on lockdown in Hawaii and we're still allowed to paddle and surf and enjoy the ocean. So we're really just kind of enjoying the time the way in the manner that we can. And so yeah, it's been great downwinding. We link up with we don't just paddle with stand-up paddlers too. I think out here a lot of other places it's kind of like you get your sub community and it's great. You got enough of a crew in Dana or Laguna to like go 30, 40 paddlers all stand up. But out here it's like do a Malika run and it's gonna
Yeah.
be stand-ups, wing foilers, one mans, two
Mm-hmm.
mans, regular foils, all linking up.
No, and that's good too. Our little harbor, Dana Point, has a huge outrigger club. I think like
That's true,
500
yeah.
people. Yeah.
And it's just cool the way everybody kind of interacts and
Yeah.
is, involved in the different little water
Right.
sports and circles.
And I hope that, I mean, we all love the surfing and now at the Olympic level, I don't want to get too much into that, but we were put with the ISA, but I don't know, but in Southern California, stand-up paddlers are still over here surfing and regular surfers are over here. Like we're still the other group. So it will be interesting to see how much they embrace us at the more local level, even though internationally they want us to be a part of what's going on. So, um,
Yeah, I mean that's such a great like topic to really
yeah,
dive into, like
for hours.
like the Olympic implications and that whole battle between the ICF and the ISA and just the feels and the good and bads of both. But but I won't get into that. But I will say though that I got to give the surfers credit that overall in the ten years or so that I've become a paddler,
Mm-hmm.
I I watched the surfing world kind of almost emulate what us racers are doing as far as just kind of trying to be more professional. Like once some people got into they saw the Olympic vision and they got into that and they went for it. And so as a result, I think they're starting to look at stand up a little bit less of an enemy and more of a relative.
Yeah.
Um,
That's
and,
good to hear because I
and
love that. And I think the paddling community is already like that. Like there's such crossover. And you've talked about all the different ways you enjoy the water. it's all about enjoying the water, and there's
Yeah, and you know, maybe and also out here it's everybody gets along in the water a lot better. Um, in the sense that everybody's used to seeing a boogie board, a longboard, and a paddleboard in the lineup with a short boarder. So, are you there, Kristen?
yeah.
All
And
right,
I could hear you.
awesome.
I could
Okay.
hear you the whole time, even
I
though when
wasn't
you were
sure. I was like, I'm
frozen.
gonna keep talking, hoping that she can hear me, but I'm not sure. But essentially, like, yeah, you just, you know, you're so. I think everybody out here is a little bit used to kind of accustomed to seeing different boards in the lineup, and 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 then with you know some of the breakthrough performers like Kai Lenny, Jamie Mitchell, Andrea Moeller, Annie
Hmm.
Reichardt, Izzy Gomez. You have a lot of these paddlers going into the surf world, and now the surfing world is like these people are insane. What Andrea Moeller has accomplished in at Piahi,
Hmm.
what Annie and Izzy are doing, following in her footsteps, what Jamie has accomplished, what Kai has accomplished. All of that is like, to me, it's helped give paddling more cred
Cred, yeah.
to the surfers that have always been very bad at accepting anything besides what they're used to seeing and stuff. So
Yeah.
that's always been a fun thing to put up with because I'm such a surfer and I had to get out of that mentality of like, okay, they're not on a short board, it's okay, it's acceptable. Like I was a little closed minded as a kid, but then out here in Maui you're just kind of exposed to every fun discipline in the ocean. So
Yeah. I did
yeah.
see a question go by. They want to know if you still work at Maui Surfer Girls.
I do. Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
kind
we
of.
both work there, and we're open for locals right now.
Yeah, yeah. Where she got me roped into that surf school, which is honestly like the best surf school I think on Maui, just because of the way that they kind of had to. The owner Dustin really had to work hard as like a female owned surf school to like just find her own style and niche. It started with like a women's day camp, and then it's rolled out to normal lessons. And
There's
she's
Josh and one other guy as the two
we're the dudes.
male
We're the
coaches.
Maui surf dudes.
And
It's
then
great. We love
there's
I'm
it.
sure
about
they love it.
15 girl
I mean,
instructors, you know, so it's Maui Surfer Girls and then Josh and another guy, you know, out there too to kind of add to the mix. But
Love it.
he hangs with the patients working with a bunch of girls, so
Yeah.
all surfer girls though. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but
Well, I have to make you on the equipment talk about your paddle for a second too, because I use the same one.
Yeah, yeah,
Warner.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, got it. I've been. How long have we been paddling Warner paddles for? Like,
Oh, like 7-ish, maybe years,
yeah.
something like that. Yeah.
I can remember. I remember buying my first paddle from them, and it was a Grand Prix, and the size I think was a 91 square inch surface. So they don't make that size anymore. But yeah,
Yeah.
it's the lightest paddle. I was super impressed. I bought in the worst paddle before. This paddle before. I don't want to name the brand just so I don't want to come off as like naysaying them, but just
No, but
we've all had our experiences with the
I
bad
think sometimes
product.
paddles make the biggest difference. We see beginners with a really heavy paddle and we think, oh, if they don't have a good experience, they're not going to love this as much as we know they would. And then you sometimes want them to try. There are lighter paddles because that just can, especially if you're new to it, totally
It
fatigue you.
it definitely does, and so yeah, like it's crazy to think like how long I've had a Warner paddle in my hand, but I've
Yeah.
really been using one for over 9 years now,
Yeah.
and um,
Well,
I, I
I
I'm
think it's
still
cool.
pretty
They're making Kealoha too. I saw you have a outrigger, I think, Kealoha paddle.
yeah.
Oh, Victoria is holding up your apex.
I actually we have our little setup. I have a little my Kealoha's right here. Sorry. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
that
because
was
they're all made up in Washington now together at the same factory.
yeah.
Warner
So that was
is making Kealohas.
that was a dream. Like that was a dream scenario for
It's
me
like,
because
ah, yeah.
like the two paddle brands that I just organically was attracted to. She loves doing this kind of stuff. So thank you for having us
Yes, no,
on.
it's super fun. I wasn't sure if,
This is
it's a
Oh my
phone
gosh,
this
thing.
is her style all the time.
So when you hold the paddle, we hold it like this.
But
You guys are hysterical.
yeah, but
Versus
No.
the other one.
but yeah, like
This one was sick.
paddles are definitely such a personal thing, and I think
Mm-hmm.
a preference. But like I've tried so many different paddles. I love the weight and the flex of the Warner Grand Prix paddle that I use. I love how it's light. Love the flex is forgiving enough to go distances over
Mm-hmm.
miles and marathon length paddles. So yeah, just they're great. They've their story is pretty cool too. Obviously, they've been around for
Over 50? Yeah.
50, 60 years.
Yeah.
That's really cool. And yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's the kind of brands, you you get psyched on when you kind of normally that's kind of the common thing. Like you find the product that's like you like the paddle. It's
Mm-hmm.
super awesome. And then when you learn about the story of how that paddle got to you, that brand's history, the family, the Warner family, how it started just wanting to make, good paddles for the river. And
Yeah.
it's really kind of resembles what I found with flying fish in that it's the boards are super awesome. And everybody's loving them. That you paddle the boards and you meet the owner and you're like this is such a rad combination.
Mm-hmm.
This the way things
That's right.
start.
You're on all American made stuff.
I'm
That's
pretty
which
proud
is
about
not
that.
normal at
Oh
all.
my
That
god.
Handcrafted in America. Whoa.
honestly, dude. I mean, like when how
There.
often do you buy something manufactured in America, and especially when you think about for paddling, how passionate you are about paddling. I swear it really translates when the person building that board for you shares that passion.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Yep.
I've experienced both, and I I really believe in this kind of style of craftsmanship.
Yeah.
I
Super.
really
Yeah.
have that appreciation for
And so
custom
wonderful that
boarding.
you get to be involved in the innovations and giving them feedback, and that's just really
Yeah.
fantastic. Well, we
Yes.
actually Instagram cuts us off in an hour, so I want to wrap it up. But before we do, kind of from beginning to end, is there anything you've changed in your approach or anything you would tell yourself now, like the person starting that you know now? Anything you've learned in these over a decade of stand-up paddleboarding, right?
Um, I think one of the best things to kind of be informed of when you're first considering getting into this or just getting started is just really try to take advantage of the community aspect of stand-up paddling. Connect with as many paddlers in your area as you can. Connect with as many paddlers as possible if you go to any paddle events. Um, I think that's been the biggest surprise of the overall experience for me is just the amount of good friends, good times, and just shared good vibes with
Yeah.
so many different people on the water, off the water, at all the events and stuff. So
Yeah. Well, I ask everybody the chicken and the egg. Do you think stand-up paddle people were already awesome before they got into the water, or does being on the water make you a great person?
well, yeah.
Let's go with the second one. So people, if they think that they're not a good person, we could just get everybody out of the
Okay,
water.
there you go. I like that logic, but it is so much about community comes up every conversation in one way or another, and we're so lucky that passion and addiction to water, and the community that's around it being so awesome and positive is we're pretty
Yeah,
lucky.
yeah. I agree. I definitely I definitely think that you find your better version of yourself most of the time. Most of the time when you're in the water, and when you come out of the water, you're definitely going to be a better version of yourself on land, I think. Um,
I like that.
and yeah, I mean, it's part of the conflict and combativeness that we've gotten from surfers. I think also made us want to just be more unified and be like, oh my god, that's a paddler over there. Hey friend, what's up?
Yeah.
I think
I still
surfers,
wave at every person with a board on their car as if I
yeah,
like know them.
it's stoked.
We
We're the
share
same
something.
way. Like even in Maui, we're just you get stoked when you see somebody busting out a brand new 10-footer, 32 wide, and you can just kind of tell like, oh, okay, it's a brand new board. They're gonna go out there and get their first taste of catching waves on the sup, and yeah.
And I don't know if you know, I mean, you're a little bit isolated there on Maui, but actually the COVID thing, again, it's sad, and I feel for all of those, and everybody stay healthy who've lost people. But the growth of stand-up paddling and some other outdoor activities like camping and biking, off the charts. They're like out of them in many places because everybody is looking for a way like to be healthy, to be healthier. So there's kind of a positive side of this that's going to come out of it, is that, you know, how important your health is, how important getting outside is, and then they get hooked on it.
Yeah, absolutely.
We see that out here.
It's definitely been a silver lining that we've noticed out here in Maui. Like just even like the amount of messages I've been getting weekly of just interest from my friends that know I've been a paddler for 10 years or whatever, and they're like, do you have any extra boards, any extra paddles? Like,
cool.
Like, I'm looking at this board, let me know, do you think I should get a touring board or a regular surf sup? And like, I've definitely noticed that uptick of interest. And I mean, it obviously makes sense to us, and so anybody I'm interacting with during these times that thinking about it, I'm like, yeah, for sure, get on a board, get out there. It's
so if you're listening and you're not a stand-up paddleboarder, Victoria and Josh and I encourage you to try it out, and you're going to love it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, before we close up, in California, we have a bunch of fires going on. I just saw our buddy John Hadley all packed up with Julie and his goat and his chicken. So I think he might have to evacuate. So stay safe, people.
Yeah.
It's strange times going on right now between diseases and fires and heat. Is it hot there in Hawaii? It's really hot for us here in California.
We've been hearing about those heat waves. Nothing too bad for us out here. We're
just the usual perfect tropical temperature.
Just getting the usual. The sun definitely wears us out a little bit. We got to try to hide out during like the high heat of the afternoon. But it's pretty nice out here. So we're hoping that things get better for you guys out there and the West Coast with the fires and the heat. And
absolutely. So if you're listening, thank you so much for being with us. If your friends didn't get to hear it, it's automatically recorded on IGTV, on SupConnect, and then on their YouTube station. So send people and come to our Facebook page, SupConnect Live Discussions, and we'll post some pictures of this darling couple right here and them on the water and all kinds of things and links to different stuff, including the video when it comes out.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes, thank you so much.
Josh and Victoria, thank you so much for talking with me today.
Definitely.
Aloha. Mahalo.
It was great chatting with you, Kristen. Definitely miss, not seeing you at all the events like we usually would connect and stuff like that. So this is really good. And
I think we're going to have the best 2021 ever because everybody's just going to be so excited at all the events to
ready,
to do them, to see each other. Thinking about it already. All right. Take care, my friends.
For listening and for all the support. You guys take care. Stay safe.
Aloha.
Aloha.
Aloha.